Hello everyone, welcome back to class. So today we're going to go to the next chapter, which is about Multipurpose Dam Project. So last time we did discuss about water, and as we mentioned, 97% of the water is salty water, which is we cannot use it, and only 3% is the safe drinking water, which is a fresh water. So today we're going to focus on a specific source of water which is known as the Multipurpose Dam Project. So as you know, a dam is mainly used to get a clean water. So for today's class, you should be able to describe and evaluate the Multipurpose Dam Project. How to choose the site? The site here refer to the location of the dam. Which site is suitable to build a dam? Is it all the places suitable to build a dam? And you should be able to describe what are the impact and effect of building a dam in terms of environment, economic and social impact, and it always related to sustainability development. So let's go to the introduction. So if you look at dams, construction across the river can be very inexpensive and also controversial project because we were going to discuss what are the pros and cons about the project. But the benefit of a dam are usually great. So a dam may help with flood control, irrigation, tourism and leisure, provide clean water, creation of habitat, route to be accessed by boat, especially to the remote area. And as we discussed in chapter 2, we discussed about energy. A dam also provide hydroelectric power. So we're going to go through one by one. What does it mean by a dam can control a flood control? So a dam is a flood control. If you look at in the image, which is about the data in here, so this is a Hoover Dam in the Black Canyon, Colorado River, United States. So they're going to build a deep wall in the river, and the water behind the dam, we call it as the reservoir. So this reservoir is important to hold the water from continue to flow on the downstream. So if there is an heavy rainfall, this wall, it will hold the water behind the dam, known as a reservoir, to protect people downstream from the flood, because it's quite often in the downstream flood happen. So one of the way to overcome flood, they build a dam. And then the dam is also used as irrigation. Irrigation here refer to water that we use to water our plant, especially for the farmers. It's quite important. So without water, photosynthesis will not be happen. That's why a dam may help with irrigation. This is quite obvious. If you look at Aswan High Dam, which is in Egypt, so Egypt weather is quite extreme and it's quite hot. Not all the area receive water equally. So what has been done by the government? They build Aswan High Dam in Egypt, and the water they use it for agriculture, so that they can provide the water and do arable agriculture in their country. So the dam also can be used as a tourism and leisure because the features look and it of the dam, it can attract people to come to the country. So if you look at this Hoover Dam in Black Canyon, it's quite famous dam. So every year million years come to Black Canyon to see this Hoover Dam in the Colorado River. The scenery, it's quite splendid. People will come here to take photos. So as a result, when the tourists come, the government will get money, and this can increase their GDP, which is gross domestic production of the country, means the money that they will have in a country. The more the money that a country get, it means the country is rich. Okay, and then it also provide clean water because the reservoir, which is the water behind the dam, we call it as a reservoir, is important for the people to drink the water and to use it either for, last time we discussed about the uses of water, either for domestic, which is in home, either for agriculture, which is irrigation, and then either for industry, which is to create something we need water. For example, to produce a new t-shirt, so we need water in order to produce a new t-shirt. And then the reservoir, if will also create a new habitat. So I would like to emphasize again of the word of reservoir. So what is a reservoir? Reservoir is a lake behind the dam. It's an artificial lake behind the dam. If you can look at in this image, so behind this wall, we call it as a reservoir. So behind this reservoir, there is an new habitat will start to develop, which is fish will start to reproduce, and then there is another aquatic organism will start to live in this area. As a result, it will create a new habitat in that area. And then the dam is also used as a route to access a remote area. So this has been used in the Three Georges Dam. We're going to look at how does Three Georges Dam look like, and then the most important part, a dam can also produce a renewable energy, which is hydroelectric power. So we discussed in chapter 3 how does it produce. So the water will flow into the turbine, it spins the turbine. As it spins the turbine, it produces kinetic energy, and then the electromagnet will change the kinetic energy into electricity. So that these are the importance of dam or benefit of a dam. So if you look at, there is a few famous dam, which is Ramaganga Dam in India, and the most famous dam in the world, the biggest dam in the world, which is Three Georges Dam. Okay, so if you look at, this is one of the other dam, which is Bowen Dam in United States. So if you look at the Bowen Dam hydro benefit, it provides electricity, which is a renewable electricity, and then improve the river quality, and then it create new ecosystem. Uh, as it create new ecosystem and then improve crook of the river, which is it will reduce the flood, and then they use it for farmers, which is for irrigation, and then stabilize crook country power grid, which is provide electricity to the local people. So that is the function of a dam. So if you look at how to build a dam, there is a factor. We cannot just simply build a dam in everywhere because it might be dangerous. So a dam is important. When you want to build a dam, the location is important to be choose wisely. So there are 7 factors that you have to remember in order to build a dam. First one is high precipitation to provide a sufficient water. So if the area doesn't receive much of water, so it's useless to build a dam. A dam need to be built in a big river where they receive high amount of water. And then that area should be a low temperature area, which is it's not too hot. If it's too hot, so what happened behind the reservoir? It will be evaporate. As it evaporate, so there is not much water available. So as a result, it will be useless. And then a dam also should be built on a strong impermeable rock, so it doesn't drain and has a good foundation. So when they want to build a dam, they will look at the bottom of the river. What is the foundation of the bottom of the river? So if the bottom is made up from mud, and it's not suitable to build a dam because the water will lose or drain easily. So usually scientists will look at if that area, or architecture will look at if that area have impermeable rock, which is the water unable to penetrate, so it will give a strong foundation. So even though earthquake happen, it would that dam will not easily break. And then that area should be built in high up in order for a good potential of hydroelectricity power. So if they build a dam in a flat area, so it's hard for the water to spin the turbine to produce kinetic energy. That's why usually a dam should be built in a high area. So as it goes to the low area, it will flow faster, the speed of the water will increase. As a result, it will spin the turbine more often and then it produces more electricity. The dam also should be built in a narrow steep side valley. Why in a narrow steep side valley? So it can hold more water. Imagine if it built in a not a narrow side of the river, so it will not be able to hold a lot of water, so it will be useless for the government to build a dam in that area because it will be easily flood will happen and it cannot hold much of water. So a dam, usually when people want to build a dam, the side of the river should be narrow so it can hold as much as water as possible, and river and lakes nearby to provide water. Usually a dam will be built near to the river and lakes because it provides water to the dam. And also last one, it should be away from the developed area. They cannot build a dam in a city. They cannot build a dam near to the settlement area. Why? Because it's extremely dangerous. Imagine if a dam breaks, so it might cause damage to the whole area. It can kill a lot of people. That's why usually when they want to build a dam, they will build it in a far away from developed area to reduce the risk. So if you look at this is a sample of a GCS question. I screenshot this from past year paper. So they give you the image and they ask you to locate what are the function or try to find out the function of the uh, a dam. So if you look at behind this wall, we call it as the reservoir, as I mentioned to you. So what is the function of the reservoir? It provides water, safe drinking water to people. It provides a new habitat. It provides water for irrigation, as in the images. If you look at ant here, they use it for agriculture. The water is also provide for electricity, which is hydroelectric power. So please remember the use of a dam, and please remember these images. It might help you for the test later, and you have to remember this keyword. So if you look at however, even though the dam it has so many advantages, sadly it also have the disadvantages. So if you look at when they want to build a dam, they have to relocate a lot of people. So when they relocate a lot of people, people will lose people will lose their home, people will lose their hometown, their culture, their graveyard. So this is happened in China, which is Three Gorges Dam. When they want to build the dam, thousand of 100,000 of people have to relocate, and more than 100 cities has and villages has been flooded because of the Three Gorges Dam. And the Three Gorges Dam is the biggest dam in the world. Not only that, the dam also it has risk of flood, especially during earthquake. The wall will start to crack and eventually the water will burst out from the wall, or during heavy rainfall. So when there is a heavy rainfall, the dam unable to hold the water behind the dam anymore, or in the reservoir, so they have to open the dam and eventually the water rushes into the nearby area. It can cause a flood. uh, when they build the wall for the dam, it also disturbs the cycle, which is fish from downstream cannot go to the upstream. As a result, it will disturb the aquatic organism, and then it will alter water supply for people downstream because of the wall built in the middle of the river. As a result, people downstream will not have access of clean water. And one more problem about this dam is it reduces the fertility of soil downstream. So as we discussed last time, what happened when the soil um, is moved the throughout by the rain. So the upper part of the soil is made up by nutrient. So when the water is moving, it brings together the sediment. So this sediment it contain nutrient. Usually in the downstream where flood always happen, it will deposit the sediment together with nutrient. But when you build a dam, which is a wall behind the reservoir, all the sediment will not be able to pass the wall. So as a result, it will be dropped behind the dam. So all the nutrient will be behind the dam. So the soil fertility downstream will not be as usual. So farmers have to use a lot of fertilizers. So it will cost a lot to the farmers. And there is the last problem when it comes to the dam is siltation. So what is siltation? I just mentioned to you, the sediment will build up behind the dam because the water, the river water, it brings the sediment. So as it reach the wall of the dam, it will be fall behind the dam. As a result, silting will happen, and it costs a lot to remove all this sediment behind the dam. So these are the problem or the disadvantages that you have to remember when it comes to a dam project. So this is you can find it in Z notes. I screenshot from the Z note. So if you look at advantages, provide electricity, it's a flood control, it also used for irrigation, it can create recreational land for tourism, it provide water to the people, it create of habitat for wetland behind the reservoir, access by boat to the area, especially in the remote area, its source of renewable energy as it does not produce greenhouse gases, it can reduce fossil fuel consumption, and the most important, it provides jobs to the local people. However, you have to remember the disadvantages. The disadvantages, people have to relocate, flood, it can cause flood of the land, it would disturb the cycle of the fish because they cannot move from downstream to upstream. The dam may be redundant because of the silting. It's very expensive to build and very expensive to maintain because of the silting. So it requires maintenance. So government have to always maintain the dam, and then reduce job for the farmers, especially when it comes to fishing. So when there is a reservoir behind the dam and they disturb the aquatic life, as a result the farmers are unable to harvest the fish. And then one more thing is alter water supply. So for people downstream, because we already blocked the water, so people downstream will not have access to the water, and then it reduced the soil enrichment downstream because silting happened behind the dam. Okay, that are the topic that you have to remember. You have to remember advantages of the dam, you have to remember disadvantages of the dam, and you have to remember how to choose a site in order to build a dam. So these are the three major things that you have to remember. So this is a screenshot from your I take this picture for those who doesn't have your textbook with you. It's about a multi-purpose dam project in India. So there is a question for you to be answered. Please answer the question. You have to read this case study. It will help you for your test. I remind you, please read this case study. You need to read this case study. It will help you for your test, upcoming test. And there is also one link I gave you in here. This is a link listed by Cambridge. You need to read from this link about the case study, which is about Aswan High Dam, which is advantages and disadvantages of Aswan High Dam. Okay, that's all for today. Please, if you have any question, do not hesitate to text me and ask me any question that you didn't understand. Thank you, class.